they not your friends. What happened with Nolan Wells is a ritual amongst white people, especially white men, white males. Typically when you see this dynamic, it'll happen right before a major milestone. So right before a black male teenager graduates high school, right before a young black man graduates college and then goes into the workforce or goes into the real world. At this point, I kind of feel like it might be a rite of passage where they get their first black body. Tamala Horsford is a similar incident where you see that this was a black woman. However, the mechanics was a little bit different. Rather than it being swimming, it was a sleepover. So this can happen in both male and female dynamics. However, it's a lot more common than we think it is. I remember my first Nolan Wells experience being in high school. We had a phenomenal black athlete who was loved all around the school. He was super popular, super personable, also attractive. And it was known that not only did the majority of his friends comprise non-black people, the girls that he was attracted to were also non-black. Now, prior to him graduating high school, maybe about a week before it was time for him to graduate, he went swimming with his friends. This was also someone who was on the swim team, and he was the only one that ended up dead. There was no investigations. They ended up finding his body, much like with the case with Nolan Wells, and there was no major investigations. And I remember it just never set right with any of us because we were like, how does somebody drown who's on a swim team? Nobody knows anything, and it just gets swept under the rug or just closed so quickly. And that was my first indication that, okay, I think that it was more to that incident than met the eye and that we were told. And over the last 19 years, I've heard of multiple cases. I will go ahead and put some up here of black men that have lost their lives at the hands of people that they trusted. Carmelo Anthony is similar, however, it's a different caveat. He wasn't unalived, he was incarcerated. And then when his friend that he was at the track meet with testified if they were friends, he said no. It's extremely dangerous to be the only black person in a group of non-black people. Black males don't understand that you are the target. Many of us still don't get that we are the target. Even down to social media, a lot of our content is consumed. Our vernacular, AAVE, the way we move our hands as black women, the way we do different things like this, our expressions, slogans, our dances, the way we wear our hair, the way we wear our clothing. We are the target. We are the focus. And when you don't realize that you're the focus and you're thinking that people are around you because they like you, you might misinterpret their intentions. And this happens so often. Many times we as black people think that non-black people have good intentions when they're in our company, and we find out when it's way too late that they're not. So the family of Nolan Wells, our biggest condolences. Let's put our finances behind the family. Let's put our love around the family, our comfort. And also, if you are a parent, let's have a real conversation. Police brutality, being stopped by the police, being discriminated against, racism are not the only conversations that needs to be had with black children. And irregardless if a child is mixed or not, or is biracial, the world identifies them as black. So if they are perceived as black, that means they will be treated as if they are black. And if they will be treated as if they are black, there needs to be a conversation to let them know what comes along with that. And sometimes one of the best conversations we could have with our children is letting them know they not your friends.